Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 13th of November 2019. Today I'm going to show you some of the updates to the Pools robot, and I'm going to tell you how I'm using it. So I've made a big change to the overall functionality of Pools because I wanted to try and simplify its use. And so what I have done, if you look at the configuration, you'll notice that the list of symbols has been removed. And this has been removed because I wanted to, number one, slow things down, and number two, try and simplify the configuration and the usage of the robot. So what the robot does now is, how I use it is that I attach it to one chart. So on the right side here I have my normal charts. There's nothing on the chart, there are no indicators on the chart, as you can see. All I have is pools running here. So it's drawing the it's drawing the rectangles and the trend lines here, which I like, which is great. And on the left side I have a normal chart with the supply and demand software. Oops, wrong thingy. Like so, in its default configuration. Okay, so I have that like that, just doing its default thing straight out of the box. Okay, and also I have this, the Pipnotic symbol changer, which is available in the forum at the top of the general discussion. I've pinned it up there, and so you guys can have a look at it there. I'll drop it in again here later today, so it's just kind of fresh. And this simply ensures that whatever is visible on this chart is also visible on this chart. Okay, so what I do is I just drag the pairs over one at a time. I go Aussie, American dollar, and you can see that the software is being used in the exact same way. The core is the same. So we have a tested area of supply, tested once. We have this untested area of demand. The size of this area is 3 times the size of this one. And if I like the area or not, then I'll just go like this. Okay, I'll just turn on auto trading. You can't see that, so I'll just lower this like that. Let me do that again because you didn't see that. I just turn on auto trading, it'll put on the trade, and then I will move on to the next one. I go to the next one. I'll see what's going on here. Do I like this? Do I like this area here? Yes, no. If I do, then I'll click on like that, and then I will go to the next pair, and I just do that over and over again. What do we have here? I mean, the most recent area is up here, so the robot will draw a rectangle just up here in a second once it runs through its loop. And this is the area that is most interesting to me because this is the one that's closest to price. So if I'm not getting something that I like, I'll either go to the higher time frames like so till I find something I like. And if I say, for example, I like this one here, we spoke about this one here, we had a bounce at it, but now price is gnawing through it. So if I don't like what I see on the one time frame, I'll change. And so here it found it finally, and then I go to the daily chart and say, well, actually I like this one down here better. And the reason I like this one is because since this one was established, we've had a continuation pattern above it, and we managed to remove something up here. You can see that we had a nice test up in this area. The highs were compromised by this down here. So what I'll do is I'll actually change the size of this area to 2 times the size of demand. Yeah, my broker's experiencing some serious issues today. I don't know what the matter is, but the numbers aren't loading and the quotes are slow, and so the robot's, of course, waiting for new tick data to come. And so when it pops it on the chart, I just say, good, I like that one. I do like this one. This is nice. So I just say auto trade. I'll open the trade, and we're done. And I go to the next pair, say American dollar, Japanese yen. And we have this area here, which has been tested once, twice. We're pretty high up. And we have this area below. So what would I want to do? Well, maybe because we're reacting a daily supply, I'd want to sell. So I can go down to another time frame and find an area of supply that I think looks interesting to me. And this might be interesting to do. Come on, broker. Yeah, and I had an entry to sell up here, but price didn't quite get there yesterday, and now we're wriggling lower. But I'm going to put that one on because we're reacting a daily supply. Let the robot flick that on, and then we'll move on to, I'll first disable it and move on to the next one. I'll go to the American dollar, Swiss franc. What do we have here? Well, we have downward sloping trend line, but before we make any decisions, let's have a look what we're doing. Well, we're actually reacting this. This is a second test, 1, 2, and now we're retreating. Okay, so maybe price is going to wriggle a little bit lower to opposing demand. And this is not really demand here because we didn't really manage to do anything. We just managed to, this demand was responsible for driving price into this supply, but we didn't take it out. So this is not demand. Okay, price is testing it. Now we're not really doing anything. So I'd be keen to look on the smaller time frames to sell based on what I can see here. First I'll go to the 4-hour. Do I see anything interesting here? No, still only buys. Go to the smaller time frame and then I can see it here. So I'll probably take this one, I'll flick it on. The robot will open it and then you can see what we have here. This is just at the upper area. So this accumulation candle here, a nice departure. So this is the one we're going to put our money on. So we'll wait and see. This one here has already been tested, so this is rebalanced. This one is yet to be retested, so we'll leave that at that. And the target has been put at opposing demand, so we'll leave it at that. Disable the robot, move to the second pair. And so notice that I have only one instance of the robot running, and I like this because if I have 30 charts open and 30 instances of the robot running in different configuration, I mean, at least for me, this is going to confuse the hell out of me, and I want to avoid confusion because I'm not that clever. And so I like to keep things super simple, super simple. Identify those areas that look super nice and clear to me. And if I'm not seeing what I like, well, then I just go to a different pair or a different time frame. So let's assume here, I mean, I like this down here, but we're really far away from price. The one that's closer is this one up here. So maybe I want to go to the daily chart to see if I can find either a clear area of demand or a clear area of supply. We have this one here, but price has already been back to this area. This is the kind of the clear one here, but we do have this below price. So let's have a look here. Let's put this here so we know where that is, and then we'll go to the daily. Yeah, so it's wanting to look higher. So I'll go up here and have a look. What are we looking at? I think we're looking at something in here. I'll say this one just here. Let's give the robot a second to figure that out. Here. And then what is this one interesting? It is pretty interesting. We had this area of supply. It was tested once, price rallied, accumulated, then cut through it. So I'm going to say, cool, I'm going to take that. And this is important because notice that I'm taking the most recent area of supply or demand. And this is important because if we're taking areas that are older, then the sentiment and the news that comes out which affects bleeding edge price has changed since the area was established. So what if we have an area that was historical, okay, so we had a nice area of value, price departed, and in the meantime, since price left there, the fundamentals have changed. Inflation's gone one direction, the interest rates have gone another direction, the sentiment has clearly changed because of the economic landscape for that country and that currency has changed. And so obviously I want to potentially take a different stance. And this is when these historical areas of supply and demand do not hold. It's because the fundamentals no longer support a buy or sell at the historical area. Okay, so this is what we're doing by focusing on the most recent area. Okay, this is not a beautiful area, but we had a departure from this, so we'll leave it. We'll just leave that on there. We won't fiddle around with it too much. Okay, so going to the next one. First of all, let's turn this off. We'll go to the next one here and see what we have here. What do we have? We have this one up here. It wants to sell up here. We need to know where we are in the bigger picture. Yeah, we're up here, aren't we? And we're getting low. We have lower highs. We have a low. We have trend line. This market structure failed. The area that did is kind of up here. So if we kind of just look around and see what we can find that supports this. We have this up here, this up here. Let's mark this off so we know where it is. And we'll have a look on the bigger time frame. So we're pretty deep. Okay, so market structure. So what I'll do is, I mean, we could easily flick this on and let it do its thing. And it is qualified, and so the robot will, sorry, the price will probably react to that level, because because most of these areas are holding. So I'm going to leave that how it is. Also, when price left here, it moved through. So we had an area here, price left, we tested that area, and we moved above. We had a lot of testing, something in here, there's demand, tested, so we had support for price, then price cut through it, and this is the one that moved all the way through the low here. So just for the sake of it, I'm going to enable that. I'm going to let it do its thing, and we'll watch and see what happens. If we want, we go to the small time frames and have a look. Your price kind of traded down through this area, not really caring about it, and all of a sudden we had new supply into the market. So I'm going to leave that on there like that. And then I'm going to go to the next pair, euro pound. What are we doing? Where are we? Well, if you look here, we go here, we are at monthly demand. What does that mean? Well, that means that we have to be careful selling. Okay, so you might want to say, okay, we're going to sell super short term, or we're going to sell super short term, or we're going to buy lower. And notice that we have this area here, which I really like. So what I can do is I can go to the weekly here, and I can focus on the area that was down here. And this is coming up already, and so the robot wants to sell here. It still wants to sell, but it's looking to sell higher. And the reason it's looking to sell higher is because the real supply is higher. Supply down here is just higher risk, so you have to be a little bit careful. But let's keep moving down on both charts and see what we have. I'm not really keen about selling there. If you go look here, no, I mean I'm not terribly keen about selling this. So I'm just going to move on to another pair. Simple as that. If I'm not seeing something clear, I'm going to leave it. But look, on this one, we had just a really nice cutaway. Price cutaway. We tried to come back. We couldn't make it. But we're really low. We'll be selling into monthly demand, so I'm not keen about that. So look at the key. We had rate cuts not made. So the Kiwi moved higher, which is interesting. And so how do we want to position ourselves? Well, due to the fact that we had rates being held, this is good. And so I would be keen, actually, on buying, because the Kiwi still have support. So I'll put in a buy at this area here. I'm going to do 1.5 times the size of this area here, which will bring the lows down to about here. And I want to be out of the trade at opposing area, which is around here. Okay, so that's what we have there. Get this, reset it, put this to 2. I'll turn it on, and now I'm going to go to the next one. CAD franc. What do we have here? Well, the robot wants to sell up here, and I can see that, but I want to see, yeah, we're reacting at this, wow, this area of weekly supply that's held once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. That's crazy. And so we're looking to move lower, so maybe we want to look for a place to sell on this time frame. So we'll wait for the robot to find it. It's found it up here. We had trend line break, so we have on a smaller time frame. Yeah, not terribly pretty. I won't do anything there. We do have a buy down here and a sell up here, so it's looking to buy here. Price has already been back here. And so I'm just going to wait. But notice here as well that price, it reached this area here, it came up and went halfway back, all the way up, halfway back, all the way up, a little bit deeper. We came back, and now we're looking to move lower. I have no idea where it's going to go. Okay, but this is essentially how I'm using the robot. I'm just dragging them on there one by one. I'm looking for something specific. If I don't see that, then I move to either a different time frame or a different symbol. We have this. I like this. This is a dollar. Singaporean dollar. I like this area of supply here, so I'm going to allow the robot to sell. There. So I'll flick it on. The robot will grab it, disable it, move to the next pair. And I look for what I like. Had really nice areas here. They were tested. They're taken out. The area that took it out is the one down here. Before we do anything, we have to find out where we are. Yeah, so we're getting close to this, but we are reacting at something big down here, these all-time lows. So price is likely going to, at least medium term to short term, move a little bit higher. So we have that area below price. I like the price rallied, poked into it, and then left. I like that, so I'm going to enable that and let it do its thing. So you can see it really takes the problems out of the analysis. You're still doing the analysis, but you're controlling the execution of the robot. Because the old version, we had some users historically who would just turn it on the 5-minute chart on everything, and it would just rip, and it would just trade huge volume and just cause all sorts of havoc. And so I pulled it off the market, and I stopped everyone from using it, except for people who are a little bit responsible. And to me, this is responsible. You set your parameters here. You have your risk parameters. We say here that we're allowed to trade 1 position per pair, max positions per currency 20. That's a lot. I would certainly change that to 10, but for the sake of illustration, I just wanted to show this. So we're exposing ourselves to 20, for example, American dollar trades. And so that can be potentially risky, especially if something crazy happens and you have unfilled orders, or filled orders for that matter, and then news comes out. So you want to limit your risk to individual currencies. Okay, but it's super simple and super easy. The default parameters are fine, but I did remove the list of instruments also because the data that's available, the historical data that's available on these instruments here, is not loaded. This is fresh data here. Okay, but if I go to the History Center and I have a look, you can see that, I don't have all the information that I need. I don't have all of the Euro Aussie data. And the software is using historical data to make trading decisions, but look, there's no data for the Euro Australian dollar. Okay, I only get that once I load it onto the chart, and then it's downloaded and loaded into the chart. Okay, so if you go like that, so you see it kind of staggers a little bit, moves up and down. That's because it's downloading data. And so if you're setting it to trade instruments where we don't have enough data, it's obviously going to be making really bad trading decisions because it's trading on old data. So it's really dangerous as well. So I wanted to make sure that this was not going to happen. Okay, and so I have it running on one chart only. I have a 2 chart setup. I have the indicators on the left as I illustrated earlier. I'm just dragging them over one by one, and then it's just doing the trades for me. Currently it's set to run at 0.1, but if you want to change that and say, well, I want to risk, let's say, 0.25%, then I'll put 0.0025, then the position sizes will change. I go to the Aussie here. Let's see if it finds something. I'm just going to illustrate what we're looking at. Let's go to a different time frame. See, it's downloading data. Okay, so it's already set to run. I don't want to do that. I want to find something a bit smaller. Okay, there we are. So I just say enable. So it calculates 0.25% based on the size of this stop, based on the balance of my account, or rather my free margin, is used, and it's still normal. This will always be at least 0.01, which for a big account is nothing, but if you're trading a $200 or $300 account, this can be a lot. So you have to be a little bit careful. Okay. Good, well, I am going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, please post them in the Pools forum, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.